just when I was a kid, I never thought in the world I'd be talking to Chris Simpson of Mineral. When that meant so much to me growing up and listening to them, and actually, I probably shouldn't say something, but there's no. Well, I don't know if I can, but there's two other people that I've been talking with to come on the show, and it seems promising. Like it might happen. They're also part of these bands I've mentioned, so I'm getting nervous thinking about it. But I'm hoping they say yes.
Dystopia tonight. Dystopia tonight.
Hey, no worries, man. It's all good.
It all happened backstage, so it doesn't matter. It's like it didn't even exist.
There you go.
But it was kind of funny because Aaron was kind of like, he does do his own show, so it's weird. He totally ratted you out. He was like, it is weird that he's not.
Well, hold on. The StreamYard, I'm not used to StreamYard, so that's like why. Because my computer was like, I don't recognize this. What are you doing? So
yeah.
Sorry about that.
It is weird. No, it is weird because even during the pandemic, everybody had their own fucking channel or whatever the hell they were doing it on, and it just annoys the shit out of me that your own camera equipment that you pay for just can't adapt to it. It's like every time I go into something different, the lighting is off. It's dark. I'm the wrong color. I'm like, come on, what the fuck is going on?
Yeah.
I was just telling Scotty before the show, I'm an audio engineer, but for this stuff, I don't even bother with the audio stuff. I turn it all off. I'm going straight through the computer because I know it's going to work.
Right. Yeah, that's a good point too.
Smart.
Yeah. How did you guys wind up hooking up?
Do you want to go, Aaron?
Yeah, we found each other online through an app.
That is absolutely fucking adorable.
I mean, it's how I met my wife and my bandmate, so it works.
Wait, when did you meet? Did you meet your wife on an app first or your bandmate first?
Wife.
That's great. That's the smartest thing I think I've heard so far about using a dating app is that you were like, you know what, it worked for love. I wonder if it'll work for a career.
I mean, why not, right? Everyone's online anyway. No one's going out of their house, so
absolutely.
So there is a specific app for musicians. It wasn't a dating app, just so everyone knows. It was a music special, for basically like Craigslist, a modern version of Craigslist for musicians, and it's cool because it enables you to create a profile. You put some of your music, your content on there, list your influences or whatever, so you kind of get a sense of who it is you're meeting before you even speak to them. So yeah, that's just kind of, and we got lucky because I met a few other people through that app, but nothing really panned out. But with Scotty, it really took off. It worked for us. So
yeah, that's cool. And what was it like? I mean, when you met other people through that app to do to see if they want to be in a band. I mean, it's awkward when you're doing a dating service kind of thing and you've got to ghost the person. It's got to be even worse when you're like jamming with them or trying to figure out if you're musically, synced, and then you're not, and you're just like, yeah, dude, I don't want to play in your fucking shitty band anymore. Like, how does that even work? Like, was it weird or did you just, was it mutual or?
The parallels are so uncanny from dating to being a band or just being in a marriage or a relationship in a band. I mean, there's so many similarities.
Right.
You're right. I mean, there are people that you meet that it's a little weird at first. You're getting to know them, and then you might quickly realize this isn't a fit. And you got to figure out how to kind of let them know without being a total dick. But
I imagine you showing up to like their garage with like hardcore music equipment and they've just got like a harp and a recorder, and you're like, you know what, actually this isn't gonna work.
That
wasn't in your profile.
Yeah exactly. I don't know.
There was one guy in particular that was here, Scotty and he came over, and I kind of knew within
that's right,
the first 10-15 minutes it wasn't, and I kind of even gave Scotty a look like, It ain't gonna work. So we jam. We obviously, I didn't say get out of here. I didn't kick him out, but we had to kind of sit through like an hour or so jamming, and then it was that. Well, okay, we'll call you, and then we didn't really follow through with it.
So that's how you guys wound up also kind of like you after you met Scotty, you still used it to find like other band members or see what else was out there.
Yeah. So go ahead, Scotty.
Oh no, I was just gonna probably second what you were saying, but I was just that we kind of, because we clicked, we're the idea of having a drummer and a bass player or even maybe another guitarist was still kind of in play, but we were, I think because we clicked so well and things kind of happened quickly that it just like, this is working. What's working right now, especially like distance wise and the connection. That we're just like, okay, let's focus on writing songs right now. We'll kind of worry about that later, because it was to be, a live band, I guess, in a way. And then it actually turned up to where, no, not at all.
Yeah.
Wow. That's awesome. So then what was both of you like, did you both start out wanting to be musicians or be in a band? Like, how did that kind of like, because you're an audio engineer by trade, am I right?
Well, not totally professionally. I do have kind of like a regular day job, but I am an engineer and producer and mixer as well.
Okay.
But
did that come with being in it? Did that come with being in a band? Like it kind of forced you to do that kind of work?
Yeah, I mean that was my introduction into it. When I was graduating high school and figuring out what I was going to do with my life, I did kind of have intentions to go into the music business and be on the on the production side, and I went to school for it actually, and I did start working in the field a little bit, but you don't make any money to start out, so I kind of got into the corporate world and got a real job, a day job. But I never stopped doing the music. I never stopped producing and writing, and Scotty and I we've played in bands all our life, from young age all the way up to now. So it's nothing really new for us other than, just this particular project. But yeah, that was the intention, at least, is to make records.
That's cool, man. What about you, Scotty? How did you wind up getting into music?
It was something where it was always around the house. And I grew up in a very religious home, so it was like a lot of praise music and worship and stuff, and so that kind of like it appealed to me. But the thing that really appealed to me more was when we'd go for beach rides and stuff, and then I'd listen to like Beach Boys and that kind of stuff. So the catchiness always stuck with me. And then as I got older and older, my brother actually got me into sounds funny, but I got into like Christian punk and then Christian metal and stuff. So that was sort of like my lead into. So then when it came to the sort of eye-opening moment for me in music altogether, where I was like, okay, I need a guitar, was when the second I saw the video for Smells Like Teen Spirit, I was like, I need a guitar. I want to destroy my high school.
He's talking past tense, guys. There's not a threat.
Yes.
SWAT team just assembles onto your house like all of a sudden.
I know. Go away.
It's fine. I did a stand-up show not a couple days ago, and like bad timing all around. I think it was like immediately when there was another, Jesus Christ, there was like another, I think there was like a mini school shooting or something like that. I think they might have taken him down or whatever, but I had no idea. And I came on in like a long coated, like leather jacket or whatever. And my hair looks like the way my hair looks or whatever. And I said, I came out of the pandemic looking like a school shooter. And then I was like, obvious. And then they kind of got like a smattering laugh, and somebody was like, too soon. I was like, oh, fuck. Did it happen again? Like, come on. What happened? It was good though. It was good.
Oh, that's awkward.
No, it was nice. It was a good time.
How did it end? Did it end okay?
Oh yeah, I had another, with 39 minutes to do, so it was fine.
Okay, good.
We worked it out as a people together.
Oh, good.
But yeah, no, it was pretty cool. But I know what you mean. So you basically just had a lot of music and stuff around you. What was the first instrument you picked up?
It was a guitar.
It was a guitar. Oh, that's cool too.
I get teased for it, but it was a friend of my mom's. Well, it was. I get teased for it from Max is because it was a pink electric guitar. So I never lived that down.
That sounds like Max. Yeah, I don't know her that well, but yeah, that does sound like Max. That's pretty good. As much as I do know, that's funny. Oh my god! Yeah. I was like, who would tease somebody with a guitar? That's fucking ridiculous. If you had anything else, maybe.
No,
but
it
then
was
you're like,
Well,
next. I was like,
if you started playing guitar in 1986, 87, when I did, a pink
Yeah.
guitar was like the thing to play. Like that was pretty,
Yeah.
you know,
right.
Badass.
put on
Good
MTV
point.
and they were all playing pink guitars.
I didn't have the hair that matched, so.
Yeah, that's a good point. Who were your influences?
Okay, this is going. For me, obviously, it was like Nirvana and Pearl Jam at the beginning, right? And then it all kind of took off from there. And then one day, when I was in a different band, we listened to a college radio station, and the group Sunny Day Real Estate came on. The song "In Circles."
I know
and dude, I'm telling you, that day on, it changed my perspective of writing music and writing lyrics. And I just became a Sunny Day Real Estate fan and Jeremy Enoch fan, the lead singer. And then I just focused on like the emo, that kind of emo style. So like Mineral and then Get Up Kids and stuff along those lines. So
that's awesome. What about you, Aaron?
Oh, let's see. How do I answer this in a precise way? So my initial influences were like top 40 radio in the early 80s. So we're talking, the first cassette I ever owned was Michael Jackson Thriller. But, you turn on MTV from 1981 to 85 and, those were my influences, the Cars, Huey Lewis and the News, Tears for Fears, Dreams, all those bands. Then in the later 80s, when I really got into guitar, I really was influenced by the hair metal, glam metal scene. So the Motley Crue, Whitesnake, Poison, those were my jam. But, they say you're influenced the most by the music you listen to in high school, right?
Mm-hmm.
Sure.
So I was in high school from 1990 to 94.
Okay.
So that gives you an idea of, so that's where I think Scotty and I start to kind of cross paths a little bit, like the Soundgarden, Alice in Chains, Pearl Jam, that scene, and even today that is in my blood.
Yeah.
But also in high school too, in those early 90s, thanks to a neighbor of mine who was a senior when I was a freshman, he introduced me to the 60s and the 70s. And that's how I got into Led Zeppelin, and I got into Cream and Leonard Skinner and Steely Dan and all that in my high school years, which ironically, those bands influenced the guys and girls in the 90s who were making music then. So I was kind of seeing how all these, how these musicians were influencing these and how their sound evolved and stuff like that. So it's a long-winded answer to say basically over these different eras, that's how I kind of was brought up in music, in popular music.
Are you kind of pumped about, because there's a resurgence of 90s shit that's just and I can't, I'm saying all the bands you just mentioned, man, I'm right there with you, and I'm like super pumped that they're like, all of them seem to be touring again, new albums. We had the lead guitarist from Third Eye Blind come on recently, on 2 new albums. I'm just like overjoyed, man. I'm like, Toad the Wet Sprockets fucking touring again, and all those dudes. So I saw right before the pandemic hit, I saw Hootie and the Blowfish and the Bare Naked Ladies live. They were touring together.
Wow.
And they were at Madison Square Garden, and they fucking blew the roof off the place. Dude. And I was in the down by the VIP section or whatever, and I'm looking over at the guy sitting like, a couple rows, whatever. And I'm like, I don't know who the fuck he is, but he looks really fucking familiar. And then they call him on stage, and it was Mike Mills. And I was just like, oh my, like, I'm such a douche. I'm like,
what's happening?
Yeah. Exactly.
Wow.
But then he got on and fucking did some shit, and it was just I was like, this is the coolest fucking thing. And like, everybody always shits on me for going to see 90s bands, and I'm like, fuck you. Like, they're still great. Are you crazy?
Yes.
I think it's even better.
Music too. Yeah, me too.
Right. I went to see Kiss, and they were doing another tour. They were really good, by the way. So we had good seats, and we're leaving. It's me, my wife, one of her, 2 of her friends that we do all these concerts with. All of a sudden, walking through the tunnel with us is one of the Ramones, and the last living Ramone, right? The drummer. So they're like, we're gonna get a picture with him. I'm like, I can't be that guy. Then after they all got a picture, I'm like, why didn't I get in that picture?
You'll never get that back.
Right? That's great.
Wow.
That's insane, man.
That's awesome. I mean, not awesome, but awesome.
Have you guys been back? Like, are you back out there yet or doing anything? Because I know stuff's. Where are you, Scotty?
I'm in Lincoln, California, so I'm towards Sacramento area.
Okay, cool. So you guys aren't too far away from each other, are you?
No.
Yeah.
No. Are you guys back out there doing stuff? California's been kind of, I guess, open more than most places. I feel like everything is kind of open at this point, though. I don't know that
New York's coming back.
Yeah, New York's basically, in full swing. Yeah. I don't know. I mean, have you guys been out there touring and stuff?
Aaron, you knew this was coming.
Oh, God. No. Well,
I'm teasing. I'm just teasing him.
Oh, okay.
In California, it depends where you're talking. Some are more open than others, but we actually never. We have so far. We have not been a live act because it's just us two, and we started writing songs in the studio, and we've been a studio band basically the whole time. So the pandemic or the lockdowns and everything like that, a lot of bands, it was a real setback for them, not able to perform and stuff like that. For us, it really wasn't much different.
Nice.
Other than the fact that we weren't able to get together in person as much as like the year before.
Sure.
But we're using technology. We're using email. We're emailing each other tracks and back and forth and stuff like that. So in this regard, the lockdown or not hasn't really changed our workflow and how we make music and stuff like that, because like I was telling Scotty, unless we grew another 2 pairs of arms each, I don't think we'd be able to play this live unless we assembled a more complete band with some other people, which is not out of the question.
Right.
It's not off the table at this point.
No, I hear you though. That's pretty cool though. So do you want to do anything live though? I mean, outside even a band, if you could make it work, would you do it?
I've done that, in my younger years.
Scotty's yes.
I've done the lugging your gear around and bands and all that, and it's fun. It's cool. We're a little older now, so you got to kind of like, is that something really feasible in my life at this certain point? It's not off the table. We're kind of just seeing where this goes as a project.
Sure.
But it has pretty much been Scotty and I doing everything, but we brought in a guest singer on this last record we did, and we're talking to some other friends of ours who we know who are musicians to see if they want to take a stab at some of these things. So we're kind of opening up the door to see if this may be something where we can bring other people in and actually have a real, like a band type of scenario. But I think it'll always be Scotty and I will be the spacing effect, like we are the band.
That's cool. No, I mean, that's awesome, man. And plus, like, I feel like then you got to step ahead of everybody else anyway. If everybody else was like trying to figure out how to go online and like kind of work separately or, stream or whatever, you guys are like, yeah, we started that way. So,
well, what's cool about that, John, is that so on my show, for my little music show, I asked a lot of the bands that I talked to, and a lot of them were like, yeah, when the pandemic happened, kind of took away obviously gigs, but within that time, it gave such a door open for everybody to kind of sit down and focus on what they need to do and what they want to do. And a lot of great music has come out of the last year and a half. It's blown my mind, like from in all different kind of styles too. So just really cool. So as much as it sucked, it's really produced some amazing music.
Completely agree. And the coolest thing is like we've had bands on where they kind of talk about how they loved not having the influence of their record label or whatever, like work, like checking out what they're working on or having to come into a studio and have somebody else in there that they don't need in there. They had to work from home and create an album from scratch. And they were like, it was amazing because we really just got to do purely what we wanted. And it was, I love that. I feel like everybody kind of got that freedom.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And it really worked for us because, I mean, like you were saying, we're just at home anyway. So it's like, here, send me the file. Okay.
Did you guys do? Did you guys do a lot of the like live Instagram live stuff? Did you try to play like for any of your fans and stuff during the pandemic?
No,
I didn't.
I mean,
dude, that's fine. I fucking hated Zoom stand-up shows, so that's fine by me, man. I get it.
That was weird. That was weird, right?
Totally weird.
I remember when it first happened too. Like the improv thing was really weird too. Watching the live improv feed.
Well, improv's always fucking weird. Let's be honest. But no, I know what you mean. It was kind of weird to watch them do like any kind of comedy done over that kind of shit is always bizarre.
Yeah.
But I loved watching the like musicians come on and stuff like that. The only thing I used to hate when they would do the fucking Disney would put on some shit and you could tell that like one guy was like definitely singing live and got a mic system in his house, and then all of a sudden the next video on would be like mass produced and they're not even I'm like, come on, what the fuck?
Yeah.
This is just who has more money at this point now, like is what you're doing or whatever.
Yeah.
But,
right. I was reluctant to try to do anything in a live streaming scenario just for the technical logistics, and if it doesn't work it kind of blows up, and I'd be fine to do something pre-recorded if we could make it work.
Sure.
But we did some interviews and podcasts and stuff like that over the last couple of years, but no actual
playing
online performance.
Yeah, it was kind of hard to navigate that. So would you guys wind up doing like you just kept it business as usual, like as far as like creating and doing that stuff during the pandemic, or did you take time off for yourselves?
We made a whole record.
So the whole record was just made during then. That's great.
Yep.
That's fucking sick, dude.
It took 2 years to do, but it would have gone quicker had it not been some in the early parts of 2020 no one was going anywhere, like we were pretty much locked in our house. So and then Scotty has kids and with school and everything like that. So had that not happened, probably wouldn't have taken a full 2 years. But no, we just used we used that time to make a full, and not a lot of people are making full length records anymore.
No.
This is we'll probably going forward do singles and maybe small EPs, but we had the time, we had the material kind of kept coming. We didn't actually we kind of knew we wanted to do a record, but it more songs were written almost on accident. We're like, well, we got to record this. This is too good. So next thing we know, we're like, 12 songs on the album. So
nice.
I'm thankful for the time.
I got a little irritated at Aaron because then out of the blue he goes, "Hey, what do you think of this tune?" And he'll play it for my, dang it, Aaron, freaking dude, we're trying to finish the album. Then he gave me something like this, and which is funny because the last one he gave us was the single of the album, the very first single of it, and they're just like, dude, you jerk.
Written on accident. That didn't mean to.
That's great.
Happened.
It was cool.
That's fucking awesome though. So wait, do you guys have like leftover stuff that you're making on a new album that didn't make it to this one?
I wouldn't say leftover, but we do have a lot of ideas that we record in our phone and say, hey, what do you think? Is this something? Yes, definitely. Let's make something with that. So we have a bunch of those. Right now, what we're doing though is all the songs that we've recorded and written have been all original. So we have this record and we did an EP in 2019.
Right.
We're actually working on a few covers now. We're gonna go into that world a little bit. Not too much. We're gonna do a handful.
Nice. Can you tell us any of the covers you're working on or not yet?
Should we say?
Yeah. I think I said it actually online like a month ago.
Okay. Well, we're doing.
Like, we weren't supposed to. It's out there.
Yeah, screw it.
Well, I'll be a little bit vague. We're doing a Depeche Mode song.
Oh, nice.
We're doing a Soundgarden song.
Great.
We're gonna do that Sponge song, right, Scotty?
Yeah.
Okay. Right. And what's the other one you wanted to do? What's the other one you wanted to do?
I've been juggling, man. I talked to Tawny the other day and she says you should do In Circles from Sunny Day. She goes, it makes sense. So I don't know. That's a tall order and that makes me really nervous. So I'm not sure.
Oh, then you gotta do it.
Oh, see.
Right.
I should have said
you gotta fucking do it. Yeah. Now you just gotta do it. When you guys approach like a cover though, like how do you do it? Because there's a million ways like people do covers where they either try to do it exactly how it is verbatim. Are you kind of fucking with it a little bit? Are you tweaking it, making it yours, changing some stuff around?
You're so right about that. There's two schools of thought, right?
Yeah.
There's do it note for note.
Mm-hmm.
And if you think about like Faith No More's rendition of War Pigs, Black Sabbath's War Pigs, note for note, arguably maybe even better than the Black Sabbath, dare I say. but it is dead on. And then there's other covers where they go completely in a different direction and kind of do it in their style, in their own way.
Right.
I go back and forth between the two. On a couple of these that we're doing, I'm trying my best to stay true to the original, but also giving us some space to put our stamp on it as well. At least I'm thinking of the Depeche Mode song and the Soundgarden song. So I think it'll be a little bit of both. Like, you'll definitely know it's a cover. You'll know the song, but there'll be some of our things too. The Soundgarden tune we're doing, we'll talk about that a little bit. I'm kind of excited to do it because we're doing a song called Blind Dogs, and it is a very deep.
Yeah.
It's not even a deep track. It was never on any of their records. It's a B-side. It was on, if you recall that movie, The Basketball Diaries, that Leonardo DiCaprio was. It was on the soundtrack for that. They played it live maybe a couple times. So it's very obscure. So it's a Soundgarden song, and if you listen to the studio recording, it sounds to me like it was a demo. It doesn't sound truly finished.
Yeah.
It's a little sloppy in some areas, maybe by design, but I suspect they demoed it out. It didn't make one of the records that they were working on at the time. Kind of got shelved, and they put it on a movie soundtrack. So I'm excited to do a Soundgarden song, but not one of their big hits that everyone knows. It's a more obscure song. And then, of course, it's paying a little tribute to Chris Cornell and, one of my heroes and stuff like that. So we're in the middle of that right now. We're halfway through tracking that song.
That's awesome. Did you guys get to meet any of those dudes? Like, do you ever get to anybody that you're kind of like, huge fans of or anything like that as your career's been going on?
Not yet. I mean, I met Eddie Van Halen once backstage at a show. I ran into Slash once backstage at the same show. Actually, his solo band was opening for Van Halen. This is 1995. But no, not yet. Hopefully we'll meet some people coming up.
Awesome.
Yet.
What about you, Scotty?
I've got to talk to a few. I got to meet Mark Solomon of Stavesacre and the Crucified.
Okay.
He was a big influence for me growing up. I got to meet him. He was really cool. And as far as super big people, not necessarily, but my own personal kind of like heroes I've met on my little show. I got to talk with Jonathan Ford of Unwed Sailor and Roadside Monument, which is huge for me. I got to talk to Chris Simpson from Mineral and Mountain Time, his new band. Nice. And so it's just, and some others too. So it's just really cool how just when I was a kid, I never thought in the world I'd be talking to Chris Simpson of Mineral. When that meant so much to me growing up and listening to them, and actually, I probably shouldn't say something, but there's no. Well, I don't know if I can, but there's two other people that I've been talking with to come on the show, and it seems promising. Like it might happen. They're also part of these bands I've mentioned, so I'm getting nervous thinking about it. But I'm hoping they say yes.
Yeah.
Well, that's the cool thing.
Sorry, yes.
When you guys have these covers coming out, are you gonna try to get them to hear it, or do you just kind of do them and peace out?
Well, we have to get permission, so they're probably maybe we'll have to hear them. We'll see. We'll cross that bridge. I've never actually released. I've only released original material. I've never released published a cover before. Sure. So we're gonna have to figure out how we got to do it on the up and up. We're not gonna just. You're not gonna
fucking do it and then just.
Yeah.
I don't know. How does that work? Because I feel like if you're playing your own music and you're playing and you're singing, so that you're not using any piece of their digital material, is it going? Do you need to clear that through them?
Yeah. Okay, so the melody.
The melody.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I was told, yes, but I've also, so I've talked to a bunch of guys too that I'm friends with on these messenger things. And one of them was saying that there's a certain link where, these bands are doing Taylor Swift songs and releasing them and all these other stuff. And it's like, well, there was no problem with any backlash or it's legit. So it's like, I don't think we really have much of a problem nowadays. Everything seems kind of open. Right. So I'm not sure. I don't know the legalities of it, but through this certain website that they shared, it's super easy to do. So
Wow.
But
I didn't know that. I had to sneeze for a second. That's why I was making like a weird face.
Oh.
I don't know if any of you saw me.
I don't know what's going on.
Like, I don't know if any of you saw me like totally go like stroke level of like facial expression, but I was like, I should probably say something before somebody's like, what the fuck was that? But I didn't wind up sneezing. So that was either a good thing or a bad thing, because it's either.
That's what that smirk was.
Exactly. I was like, oh fuck. I don't know if it's gonna happen. I muted myself too, because I was like, gotta be ready for it. Ready for anything. Love doing this shit live.
Well,
also, if you did, fucking thanks for not mentioning it. Jesus. I was like, does anybody want to check on him? They were like, let him go. We're all talking. It's fine.
Yeah, no dialing 911, nothing. Just
Yeah,
let it
The
happen.
show must go on. The show must go on. Come on now.
Hey, we got on video. Woohoo!
You wouldn't even know he was having a stroke because he already does the who was that?
I do that a lot, yeah. I completely forget. I forget guests we had on like a week ago, and I'm like, oh, what's his name? And it's like, it was Black. I don't know what's wrong. It's not even the person. It's just I just can't think sometimes. I don't know what it is. Maybe these ring lights are causing some kind of brain aneurysm.
Yeah, right. Just like sucking.
Being in front of them for like 2 fucking years straight, because you know. I didn't look like a fucking girl. I don't know.
I was gonna say, though, I would love to, because I'm friends with William Goldsmith on, so he's a drummer for Sunday Real Estate and his new band Insertion.
Uh-huh.
And part of me is like, well, okay, if we do In Circles, I want to like send it to him personally. And just say, what do you think, man?
Absolutely, dude. That'd
know.
be fucking awesome. I feel like it'd be flattering. I don't know how other bands take. Well, how would you take it if somebody did a cover of your song? Would you be like, "Oh, that's fucking awesome"? Or would you be like, "You're encroaching on my territory"?
No, as long as
Excited
they do it
as
well,
heck, dude.
as long as it's good, I would love it.
Yeah,
You
yeah. I
know,
feel like
as long
that's
as they
like a
don't-
kind of an honor.
We had a
Absolutely.
band on that did a cover of Tenacious D, and they put it up on TikTok, and it got a lot of good traction. And Jack Black duetted it.
Yeah.
For
I think I saw
nice.
that. I saw that.
Really?
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
so
Fucking
cool.
Adam and the
Metal Hawks. Yeah, they were they're fucking great, man. They kept me wildly entertained during the pandemic. They were putting out videos all the time. They were just having a blast.
Yeah.
That's so awesome. I'll have to
Yeah.
check that out.
Really cool dudes.
Do you guys release your stuff on TikTok and that other and all the other social media?
Not TikTok, but on pretty much the main three, I guess you could say: Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. Just mainly.
Oh,
those
okay.
three.
Some YouTube too.
Yeah, some YouTube stuff. Yeah.
TikTok's a fucking pain in the ass to navigate. I still don't I had one video that hit 1 million views, and then I guess I never posted enough, and then they were like, "Fuck you." I was like, "Fuck you too." I mean, they were like, but they don't actually need me, so I was like, "Oh, maybe I should have posted more." But it's hard to figure out like what whatever you need to do on there. But I guess it's worth it. I don't know.
Confusing. Well, yeah, that's what's cool, and also very confusing. Just like you're saying about a lot of the bands that I follow and stuff, and I see all their posts and stuff, and I'm friends with a lot of these people, and seeing them post their TikToks, and I'm just like, is this really a thing? Like, it's so interesting to know, like, covers on TikTok and singing on TikTok is just. It's huge, and it's like, but I just don't get it though. Like, what's the appeal? I don't know. For me personally, I don't get it.
What people sometimes do is they'll play your song and then they'll lip sync it, and then if it catches fire, like we have a friend that's a comedian that he has part of his bit on it. Now this gentleman is totally out of the loop of TikTok. Has never been on it, doesn't even know what it is, and his daughter was sending him all clips of people doing his act, like mouthing his act. Yeah. And then it gets more popular. It gets a little viralness if they find something that they grab to.
Right.
You know?
Yeah, that makes sense.
So it's cool.
Wow.
Yeah, it is kind of fun. Yeah, stand-ups are good for doing that kind of stuff with or whatever. I've seen a bunch of comedy stuff done. I just don't like how homogenous it is. You know what I mean? Like, it's very like when one thing works, like everybody fucking does it.
Yeah.
And then it's just in your feet, like the same shit over and over and over again. And then half the time it's not even people that are like, remotely talented. It's just that, they're wildly attractive. And
Yeah.
But more props to him. I get it. Like, that's fucking great. Who doesn't want to look at it? But it's also like, who wants to look at it? You know what I mean? Like
John will not stop going on about me. Thank you, John.
Yeah, well, I'm just jealous. That's all. You got a nice hat collection. I can't lie. So what is it? So you guys, how long do you think before you start doing like another album?
Oh Lord.
Well, I
It
mean,
was
like,
funny.
look at it this way. Like, you just did this one. So how long? Because you guys aren't. Because normally I feel like, what is it? You get like a band puts out an album, they go touring with it, right? So now,
Yeah,
what's the process now? Is it
yeah,
you guys
the traditional way is you go in the studio, you make a record, you go
Right.
and tour to support that record, right? And then
Mhm.
you come home and you write another record and go on tour, and it's just this
Mhm.
thing, right?
Cool.
But we're trying to figure out how to navigate how things work in 2021, which is
Sure.
different now. You know, the internet is the ultimate distribution center. So we were just, it's funny, we were just talking today about, and we've talked about this recently too, like people, unless you're like a big A-lister, people really aren't making full-length records anymore.
Right.
They're releasing singles for whatever reason. I don't know if it's the attention span of the consumer these days doesn't want to listen to a whole album or what. They just want, they want playlists. They want your song amongst a bunch of others or whatever. So
some of
the
them just aren't
full-length
good.
album, well, there's that too. There's that too. But the full-length album is kind of, I wanted to get at least one under our belt, you know, but I don't know that we will do that very much going forward. So to answer your question, we'll continue to always write and record material, and it'll just be, how do we release it? And it'll probably be more like either singles, you know, as we do them, or maybe we let a few build up, like 3, 4, and release like an EP, like a small package of songs. But that's kind of going to be the formula, I think, going forward, which is a lot of people are doing, which is, and the thing about it too, I heard someone say, you can kind of focus a little bit more when you're working on just one song or maybe 2 songs. When you're doing a record and you're trying to write and record 11, 12, 13, 14 or more songs, it's very time consuming because, you know, it can feel like this is never going to end. I got so much to do, so much to tackle.
I can imagine.
Right. And then unfortunately, sometimes you get albums where maybe 80% of the songs are great and 20% of them are filler, or, you know, maybe, you know, like we'll throw that on the record, but that's not our best, whatever.
Right.
Whereas if you are just focusing on singles, you can really put everything into it. And if it works, you keep going with it. If it doesn't work, you get it out of the way and you do another one.
Yeah.
So I think that's, you know, once we get, we're going to do a handful of covers, and then we're going to go back to our original material, which we already have some ideas for. It's just a matter of going in, digging them up, figuring out what's going to work, and just building on those.
And then don't you get to eventually just collect the singles and make an album then?
Pretty much.
Yeah. So that's a great way to do it. I feel like that's an even better way to do it.
Right. In the old days, and this is why, in my mind, why I was like, we need to do a record, is in the old days, and I'm talking, you know, 5 years ago and before, you would make a record, you go into a studio, so there was studio time. Now everyone's doing it in their house. But mastering an album, you know, mastering an album is making sure that all the songs that you recorded are at the same volume level. Sonically, they're all kind of uniform, so that you can play any song on that record and it's going to have the same kind of sonic sound. The volume's going to be, you don't have to reach for the volume and everything like that. So that's why I told Scotty, I'm like, we need to do a full length album because we need to save up all these songs to have them mastered all at once. So that, again, this is the traditional way of making a record. But now I think we're going to just master the songs as we go. And you, like what you just said, you could take all those singles and put them together on a playlist and call it an album. Sure. Why not? You know, it's the same thing.
That's sometimes what I do anyway. Like, I mean, if I'm listening to a band or whatever, like I very rarely, there's certain bands I love listening to a full album for. And then, you know, and 9 times out of 10, sometimes I see bands creating albums that literally have a beginning and an end. You know what I mean? Like their songs actually flow, which is great. Most of the time though, if they've got a few, you know, albums out, I just pick and choose anyway. And then they're the singles that I like that they put out or that I enjoy or whatever. And I put them in a playlist. So if people are doing that anyway, fuck it. Why not just release the, you know, the singles?
Right.
And do it
Although I will say this. I was doing that for so long recently, just listening to the songs I like, throwing them in a playlist of my favorites and whatever. But I actually have gone back to the traditional listening to an album start to finish. Usually when I'm working, I just kind of have it on.
Yes.
And it's so cool because you hear songs that you haven't heard in years. Like, oh, that's right. That's a total deep track on that record that most people don't even know or like. But I, for some reason, it was one of my favorite songs. And so I'm revisiting a lot of these deep tracks on records that you wouldn't hear on a Spotify playlist or on the radio or whatever. So, that's been kind of fun to go back to just listening to full records again.
Yeah, I know what you mean. Do you ever do that thing where you listen to an album that you look? There's sometimes like on long car rides or whatever, like I'll have an album playing or whatever, and I'll kind of even forget it's on because normally you do that thing, you're skipping through or your iPhone or whatever, but then like I'll forget, I'll leave it on, and a song will pop on that I never really listened to before, and it'll be like years have gone by, and I'm like, why did I skip this song? It's really fucking good, and I have no idea.
Yeah, and now it goes to your playlist and one of your favorites, and you're listening to it every day.
Yes, and then I play it until I no longer enjoy it.
And it goes back on the shelf.
Yeah.
So speaking of mastering, we should point out too that we are fortunate to work with Max Wassa, who got us connected with Max Norman. Max Norman mastered this album and our last EP we did, and Max is a legend in the music business. He has produced and engineered so many great records. Just to name a few: Ozzy Osbourne solo records, Megadeath, George Lynch. I mean, he's worked with the best.
Nice.
He's worked with the best, and so it's been great to have. I'm doing the mixing and recording at my house here, and then I turn it over to a pro like him, and I'm like, do your magic to it and hope that what he's hearing, he's like, okay, good. This is something I can work with. Not this is a bunch of shit. What are you doing? And for him, someone like him to say even something like, hey, good job on the mix. I'm like, okay, that's all I need. I'm like, that's great. Know? So it was a real pleasure and treat to be able to work with him, and we're really gracious to what he's done for us to make the mastering is the final process, like the final coat of gloss, I guess, on the record. But got to point that out, Max Norman.
Awesome. Well, when you guys play your stuff live, this is a good question about producing and all that other stuff. So you record songs for an album, that's the way you want them to sound, that's their finished product. If you play them again, how loose are you with that? Do you kind of add stuff that you added in later, or do you stick to primarily what you wrote and musically and lyrically?
It kind of depends, like some records that you make, like you stay true to it. It came out exactly how you want it, and you don't want to change. A lot of other times too, though, the songs evolve, and you might watch bands play songs that maybe were released years ago, and you can kind of see how they play them a little bit differently in live settings, or they may embellish or add to parts and stuff like that. The fact of the matter is, and you probably know this doing stand-up, you do the same, more or less same routine city to city, right? Well, bands do the same thing. They're playing the same songs every night.
Right.
So, God forbid, it could get a little monotonous to play the same thing over and over. So you kind of want to wander a little bit. You want to kind of, add in a little extra, throw in here and there. So it's not uncommon for that to happen.
It's funny, the extremes. Like, I don't even know, like I've gone to see certain bands where part of me enjoys when the audience is trying to sing along and the band's like, nah, I don't think so.
Yeah.
And then they like completely throw it off, whatever. And I get both sides of it. I get the band's frustration as an artist going like, oh, okay, they want to fuck around and do whatever. But I also get the audience's frustration where they're like, I just wanted to come sing to my favorite song, whatever.
Yeah.
It's hilarious, but I do get it. Like, it's gotta be, frustrating or whatever. The Counting Crows are a band that does that. Like, I think Adam Duritz does not like to, it just sounds different. It's almost the same, and then he'll throw in like 14 extra lyrics that you've never heard him do, or he'll take it extra long or whatever, and it just kind of blows me away. And Bob Dylan doesn't even sing anymore. I think he just speaks when he goes on stage. So there's that kind of, we're like, oh, he's doing a reading.
Speaking of the Counting Crows, that song Raining in Baltimore was on their first record.
Great song,
but I love the live version so much more. than the recorded version. It's just the emotion and everything. It's just, for me, it's the same song.
Yep.
It's just performed differently, and I will go to the live version every time on that particular track.
Yeah, I completely agree, dude. Yeah, there's a bunch of that stuff where I'm just like, it's crazy too, because I hate when they when a band's don't. I think every band should at least record one live fucking set along with whatever their albums, because sometimes I hear the live one and I'm like, oh, I want that one. Like, I don't want to hear the one they did. Yeah,
right.
See, I'm complete opposite. I've rarely have I ever been a fan of something live. I think one of the only ones that really stuck out in my mind was the Doors doing the End live, and it was like so much more longer. So much more long, and just like it was just. I just remember just feeling it out and hearing just Jim be bonkers. But there was something about that was so appealing. But as far as like Blink-182 live and some of these other ones, I'm just like, it's okay. Like even some like these metal bands that I'm totally digging a lot of these metal bands nowadays, and some of that stuff, it's like, okay, but I'm just gonna go to your regular album. It sounds, it just sounds a little better.
Some people just aren't great live, you know what I mean? And they try to like, they won't even bother to try to replicate what they did on the album and all, like even
true,
even remotely. So that kind of shit bums me out. But when I feel like they're playing or whatever, it's weird. Somebody had just said mentioned Dave Matthews back in the day. Yeah, I feel like he did different stuff. He always did different stuff too, and so did I saw Rob Thomas, because he opened for the Counting Crows, and I felt the same. Like he kind of mixed it. It's weird though, because where he kind of mixed it up a little bit, he still kept it where like you almost didn't notice. So all the songs still kind of sounded exactly the same. Where I feel like when Adam took the stage, he's like, "Fuck it." Like, like he was
he goes off feeling well. And when you talk about live too, there's the live recording, and then there's the live performance. Now the live performance can't be duplicated on a stereo, right? It's the punch, it's that low end, it's the volume, it's being in a crowd, it's the energy. Again, you will not get that on a CD or a computer or a record, whatever. So there are some live albums that are awesome. If Frampton Comes Alive, this comes to mind right off the bat. That's a phenomenal live record.
Absolutely.
But it is hard to capture that energy. So that's why probably, Scotty, you might gravitate to the studio records where they've really dialed in those sounds for the record versus, a live performance that's just recorded.
Yeah.
That's true. Or there's some artists that I love that have like multiples of the same song, and it fucks me up because like I'll be in a car with a friend and they'll be like, "Oh, you like, whoever." And like they'll pop it in, and then I'm like, not whatever this shit is. Like, what are you even doing? You know what I mean? And it's like the same song that you grew up with, but it's on their like hidden fourth out or whatever the fuck it is. And I'm just like, oh, this isn't it at all. That throws me. I can't stand that.
Yeah, that's okay. That's one thing I'm definitely not a fan of, is when I see like a new release, quote unquote, and it's like 3-4 different mixes and this kind of stuff. I'm like, why butcher it? Or I mean, okay, I'm sorry, I'm being judgmental here, but I just go, what's the point? You don't need 50 different mixes of that and do like an electronic version and then do like a softer version, but it's all the same thing. It's just I don't know. That's me. I never, again, the live stuff, the remixes, constant remixes. It's like no. Just leave it alone.
Yeah, it's like, how
personally
you hate it the first time you did it. Like we get it.
Yeah, right.
But I understand. Yeah, we were saying about Tool live.
No, Tool live.
Tool.
Yeah, they're phenomenal.
That's true.
Live.
That's a band that could go either way.
Oof.
Have they released much live material? I know in their like Opiate, their first EP, there's a few live songs. But is there a lot of Tool live? That's not bootleg.
I don't know. I have a few. I mean, it may be from the one you're talking about, but I have a few where you can hear the audience reaction in the background. But I grabbed that off of when Napster was around back in the day.
Oh yeah,
there you go.
That's a name drop.
It would be cool if Tool put out a commercial live album like of their recent tour or something. Oh, that'd be awesome. We saw them. Scotty and I saw them here in Sacramento 2 years ago at the Aftershock, and that was
they
insane.
were phenomenal, man. They blew my mind.
Yeah,
I was a fan, but I became even more of a fan when I saw them live.
Nice.
So that was amazing.
That's where I saw Echo and the Bunnymen in Sacramento.
Nice.
And they were like, I know that's not, nobody gives a shit, but
no. Lips Like Sugar. I love that song.
Yeah, but dude, that is I think that's their best song. I think that's their best fucking song. I love that song. Everyone either knows the one from what the fuck is that movie with the
Lost
creepy
Boys.
rabbit and Jake Gyllenhaal?
Oh, Donnie Darko.
Donnie Darko, that's it. It's Killing Moon. The Killing Moon.
There you go.
Okay.
Yeah.
You got a song on the Lost Boys soundtrack too.
They did. I think they did too. Yeah, I can't remember the name of that one though. But yeah, the
Good memory.
Jake Gyllenhaal movie. But which now he's apparently whatever. Taylor Swift's got a axe to grind. Whatever. I don't know why I sound like I know him. I'm like, Dad, what a. I don't know.
How dare you?
How dare you besmirch the name of Gyllenhaal? Oh my God. So what's basically like your plans? Like you got to go this album. Are you just kind of doing like interviews and stuff like that? Like what's your mode to get it out there?
Yeah, well, we're through the Dark Star Records and Liquid Music label. So, we have a platform and to kind of get it out there. And we're on Amazon and Spotify and Apple. We're all on the major streaming platforms. We're not doing live performing at this time. So, an alternative would be to try to get our music into, other media like films, TV shows, commercial, whatever, video content to add to that. So that's an avenue that I'd like to try to pursue.
We had a band on that gave us a hint for that. If you name your song something generic, sometimes like TV shows and commercials, stuff like that, we'll look up, because that's how they wound up kind of getting into it, is that they didn't even mean to do that, but they were just like, I don't know what the name of the song was. But literally they said if you just name a song like Doing Laundry, like these morons at the they'll like literally be like, oh, we got a scene in the show where they're doing laundry, but they're whatever, and they'll like look up that and then they'll try to find a song.
Right.
Oh, that's smart.
That reminds me of years ago. I did some cue music, and I did AT&T licensed one of my songs for one of their corporate videos, and in my description for that music, it was in the style of Pearl Jam and Coldplay, right? Mm-hmm. In the style of, well, I don't know why they chose my music, but I think it's probably because they're like, oh, Pearl Jam, Coldplay, let's listen to it, so I think I hooked them in with that, but they could get my music for a lot cheaper.
Oh, right.
for their video, so but it worked. It worked in my favor, right?
Yeah,
got in the door.
That's great.
That's cool.
You guys should like it'd be fucking hilarious if a band like did that kind of shit and then really put like subliminal satanic messages in the, what I mean? We're like, like awesome. The WB picks up some show or whatever because it's like the name of the song and some shit, but and they start to play, nobody's even paying attention. It just gets passed along the fucking ladder and it's like, the Seventh Heaven cast getting back together or some shit.
Right. Or what about a corporate training video? Right? Right?
Even
like
better.
Everyone's in a conference room watching some corporate training, boring training, and the music's in the background. There's some subliminal satanic shit going on, and they have no idea. That'd be awesome.
That'd be great. Like all of a sudden on 11 o'clock news, bloodbath at Target. You're like, holy shit, they bought our song.
You're giving me some ideas here. I think I might.
Oh Lord!
I'm sure Max will be thrilled about what I just said. So,
yeah, right.
Like, what are you doing? Word on the Street is Spacey Fed is up for 2 soundtracks as we speak. Oh, that's great. That's fucking awesome.
There we go. We got some stuff in the works.
Beautiful. Well, congrats, guys. I got to ask you 2 questions before I let you go. I asked, and you guys can answer individually. Or together. Fuck it. I don't know. But we ask every guest this. So the first one is, if you go back in time and give your younger self a piece of advice that would help you today, what would it be?
You know what mine would be? Mine would be, not to get all like serious. It would be to stop watching so much TV and movies and create.
Honest to God, I thought you were going to go with porn, but that's fine. That's TV just in general. I was like, you were like, stop watching so much. And I was like,
what? Why would you give yourself that advice?
Yeah, I
know. What are you, crazy?
Oh, Lord. Oh, my goodness.
You're like, no, I'll do that. But I just want to create more with the porn. Um,
No.
Those are the soundtracks they're up for.
I want to create music for the porn. Yeah, exactly.
Thanks, Max. We made it, guys. We made it.
You guys are giving me all kinds of ideas.
Yeah.
I heard they have the lead song on Ghost Thrusters. The remake.
Oh my god. Oh Lord.
Oh God.
Oh my gosh.
Oh fuck. That was great. Aaron,
Good job, Tom.
the floor is yours.
Yeah. Actually, this is easy. I'll keep it music related. The first instrument I started playing was piano when I was 9 years old, and I was taking piano lessons, like the classical piano lessons, and my 9-year-old self didn't think piano was cool enough. And I'm like, screw this, I don't want to do it. I think I moved to saxophone actually after that. I didn't even go to guitar next. Anyway, I totally remember this. My grandfather, who has since passed on, sitting down with me at the piano, and I'm a little shithead. I'm 9 years old. I don't want to do this, and he was in his very gentle way was trying to tell me, I know it's not easy, but you really should stick with it. It's a good thing you're doing, think about it. Don't just make it, a rash decision. He said it, and I'm paraphrasing or whatever. I was like, nope, not doing it. To this day, I regret not staying with piano. If I would have stayed from age 9 to now, I mean, I'd be probably pretty good. Now I can kind of feel my way around on the piano.
Yeah.
But I regret not staying with it at such an early age. So if I could go back to that 9-year-old, I'd beat the shit out of him and say, you're gonna play piano.
Yeah.
That's a great time travel movie though. Like you don't even make it. Like you beat the shit out of your 9-year-old self. And then just wind up in jail in the past, and you can't even get back to your future self. Like, no, I was just trying to shake the kid up. It's me. They're like,
now your older self has a red dot on your house from beating up your younger self. Jesus.
Scotty's trying to rehearse with you, and you just fade away like Michael J. Fox. Fuck, he sees bruises right before you leave. That's fucking nuts. Oh my goodness. Okay, and the last question for both of you is, what had to end in your life, good or bad, for you to wind up where you are today?
What had to end?
Wow, that's a really good question.
Thank you.
No, I never even thought about that. Oh my gosh.
Well, we know somebody didn't watch this show before he came on it.
To be fair, I got to certain points, but I'm driving all day long, and I didn't get to finish some of them.
I get it. You only got 20 minutes in. This question happens at the end. Nobody ever knows it's coming.
No. It's
guilty.
Fine.
So guilty. I'm sorry, guys.
Dude, I barely rewatch my own stand-up sets or the show, so it's fine. I'm just getting the money and leaving. I'm like, all right, I'm out.
Okay. Okay. So what's the question one more time? Sorry.
So what had to end in your life, good or bad, for you to wind up where you are today?
Okay, so I would say that I stopped watching movies and TVs and stuff. I just cut it all out, and all I've been doing has been creating.
Wow, that's great.
So I just wish I did it earlier on, hence the going back and talking to myself. So.
Sure. All right. What did you used to watch that you stopped? Now I'm
upset. It's just like I was just a movie fiend. Like I was every movie had to come out, every TV show I had to watch. I wanted to be in, know it all and be just the constant back and forth with friends and that stuff. And I think honestly, it was around when just before the pandemic came out, I was just like, I need to stop. I need to just focus on some music. And then the pandemic happened, and it was like, here's my chance. Like I was telling you earlier about the band. So there you go.
Wow, you are the only person.
What can I ruin for you?
wait, what?
So let me rephrase my question. What can I ruin for you? Let me tell you how Game of Thrones ends.
I saw that. That was unfortunate. See, that's why I stopped.
That's great. Aaron, do you know the answer to the question yet?
I do. I actually have two answers. Can I give you two?
Go with it.
Right.
Yeah.
So the first one, when I was younger, athletics. and I'm still an athlete. I'm still very active, but organized athletics in school and growing up and stuff like that, time consuming, obviously, and it takes a lot of your attention. And so to be able to really pursue music in the way that I am now, being freed up from that thing, I think that part of my life kind of had to end so that I could do what I'm doing now. But I would also say too, my first marriage had to end in order to continue, and not that it wasn't horrible or anything, but my ex-wife was not a music lover, and pursuing, so putting hours in the studio didn't go over too well with her, and so that was always a negotiation and a whatever. So I think I don't know that I would have made 2 records in the last few years if I was still in that marriage. So
wow. Awesome, guys. Well, listen, thanks so much for coming on. You guys were a fucking blast to talk to. Check out their new album. It's Silent Weapons for Quiet Wars, right?
There you go.
There we go. Silent Weapons for Quiet Wars. And also apparently they're going to be doing some soundtracks. Hopefully not porn. But hopefully Max got him a better deal. Aaron's like, it's fine by me. I don't know what the fuck you're talking about. Yeah, what are you talking about?
It's still music.
Oh, Lord.
I love that Aaron is like, I'll jerk off to my own music. What are you kidding?
It might enhance the experience. What are you talking about?
It'll be like Pavlov's dogs.
Oh my God.
Oh my God. You guys are a good time. Thanks so much for coming on.
Thank you
Thanks,
so much
guys.
for having us.
Yep.
Yeah, guys. Next
Take care,
time
guys.
coming out. We'll see you.
Dystopia tonight.